My dad was a real estate agent and my mom was a part-time nurse. A block away from Mercy here in Burlingame, California. This is where we were raised. The three of us, my two sisters and I, Elizabeth, Una, and I, all attended Mercy at the same time.
I have a lot of gratitude for what my parents did. I really respect the dedication they had. There were two things in our house that were non-negotiable. Our Catholic faith, because my parents are both immigrants from Ireland, and education. We just always knew we were going to go to OLA first, Our Lady of Angels, and then Mercy, and my brothers to Sarah High School. Looking back now, I see the dedication they had and the donations and the contributions we got towards their education.
There was a work scholarship program or work study program that was in place at the time, and my mom made an application. I was the first one to get the scholarship, and it was a really, really great opportunity. Coming in the doors as a freshman, immediately embraced by the senior class. We each had a senior big sister. In fact, I was kidnapped my very first day in my PJs and taken to the pancake house by my big sister. Our sister Una joined Elizabeth and I here at Mercy in 1979. It was pretty powerful, having three of us here. In that same junior year, actually, I ran for student body officer, and having a sister in each class meant everyone would vote for me,
Yeah.
So it was really hard to beat me.
Being her younger sister and then having another sister just a year younger, Una, sandwiched between these two competing sisters. I loved having her here, but I wanted my own space too, I think sometimes. Coming up here and just being amongst the trees and the oaks, it was so beautiful and serene, and it just really lent to a great place to learn.
When we were going to school here, there was a lot more Sisters of Mercy. They were actually involved in teaching and in counseling. The Mercy Center that's there now used to be called the Mother House or the convent when we were here, and we would do masses there. Looking back on it, it was really all part of the fabric, everything woven together with the education.
Being amongst all young women, it felt very nourishing. I could focus on my studies. For the most part, it was really about nourishing us as young women and learning to find our voices and supporting each other.
Taking the education I got here at Mercy, I went on to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. I got a degree in civil engineering, and then I moved into the environmental consulting world and water resources. Along the way, I got married to my husband, Stefan. We have two beautiful kids. They're 24 and 21 now. The work I do now is with the state of California, with the Department of Water Resources. I'm in charge of the financial assistance branch. And one of the things I think I'm most gratified about with the work we do is giving money to underserved communities and vulnerable communities and tribal communities throughout the state and helping them get a leg up, helping them build the capacity they need to have what we call water resilience.
Right now, I am working as a clinical nurse in a labor and delivery department, and about 8 years ago, I went back to school and got a certification in holistic nursing, which is really my passion. And I developed and implemented an integrative healing arts program at the hospital I work at. And I love teaching, I love empowering patients and staff to, in their wellness.
Una is super creative, and a couple years after I started at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, she came to the school to study architecture. She took a year and went to the University of Denmark in Copenhagen and came back then and graduated from Cal Poly.
Early 2000s, she went out on her own and started her own business, UMK Architecture. She's never looked back.
She's really been able to parlay that work into her commitment to Habitat for Humanity. She is considered a leader in Habitat for Humanity. I think one year she did 2 trips that she participated in and when she led.
Una and I went on a Habitat for Humanity trip, and it was in Africa. We were in Kenya, and we built 3 houses there for 2 weeks. And then after our Habitat build, we connected with one of our old teachers, Sister Jean Evans. She was living in South Africa in a community in Johannesburg. What an amazing experience. And the way that Una has figured out how to marry her work, what she does and she loves, with travel, and 36 years later, she is back at Mercy. She became a board member. She likes making a difference, up here, and helping to preserve this beautiful place is something that she's really proud of.
The values that instilled in me are just the giving back and the helping others and how important that is throughout our lives. I always like to tell my kids that making a difference, it's small little acts of kindness every day. My parents had limited money to give, but they felt very strongly in investing in our education here at Mercy, and so they gave what they could. And I think my parents picked the very best place for us to go to high school here because that really was driven home here. As I started making my own money and giving back to Mercy, I always checked the box for the scholarship program, always.
The example that we set out in the world, when I go out and I do these medical missions and the people that are so receptive and so grateful for any opportunity, it changes the way you see the world. It's really powerful. So I feel the impact that we have leading as examples, doing these kinds of things, it's really a big part of living in this global community. And that all started here.